Good evening, everyone. It is the 25th of September, 2020. Still in our COVID situation. I hope everybody is happy and healthy. Well, probably not overly happy, but healthy. I do understand a number of people still are not able to get into the gym, and I can sympathize with you about how frustrating that is, especially for those. I can tell you that when they first shut down, uh, being at this game for over 40 years and then going through a terrible sickness and just finally getting it back together and then having the gyms close, it was not good. And so I sympathize with people, especially ones that have started a journey and we're really making progress, and all of a sudden everything shut down. But hang in there. It will get better. I know it'll get better, and eventually you'll get back at her and training hard. And together we'll all get through this, and you'll start making gains and fulfill all your dreams and wishes, and get to the end of that journey that you've been working so hard to attain. Anyways, I did make an announcement, I believe, on the last show, and that was in regards to removing the Spotlight Friday onto a Monday show, although I don't know if I'm going to have a guest for this upcoming Monday. I do believe it'd be the 5th. It would be the next one, and I have somebody lined up for that. And I think I have somebody lined up for the one after that. So things are looking up there. So we're going to continue on with our series, and our series would be, today we're going to deal with biceps. Once again, I reiterate, I wish I was actually have my own facility open here, but it's not going to be open for a while, where we could do this actually in a complete gym setting. But we'll work with with my app that I use for all my clients, and we're going to illustrate and talk about biceps today in general, and show you different exercises and variations, and then give you my take on what I think is best. Before I get into this any further, let's just wrap this up first. Okay, welcome back. Welcome back. Before we get into everything today, what I want to tell you, I would like for you to, if you could, take the time to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I do broadcast this across several Facebook pages, but it'd be nice if you could help me grow that channel. Remember that I'm not just growing my own channel. I'm basically want to grow awareness for the natural movement. Anybody's more than welcome to join in and listen to the show. The show is definitely very informational. It's going to get more informational once we get actually working in the facility itself. And most everything I say applies to whether you're a performance-enhanced athlete or not. Either way, if you could like and subscribe, that would be wonderful. You can also visit me at on my webpage as well, and check out the programs I have. I do offer full service for training individuals. I have 43 years of experience behind me, lots of nutritional background, experienced competitor, won several shows, and I have a wealth of information offered to my clients. And my packages are quite reasonable for the experience that you're buying. What else? I have a couple of books coming out later in the year and early in the spring. And I will be doing a series of seminars and webinars starting later on this year. What else? I think that's probably is more of an aim. We're going to leave it at that. So I want to talk to you about biceps. And I know most people are at the back and they say, "Wow, bicep! That's everything. Everybody loves to train bicep." But when people put those things out on Facebook and they talk about, what is your favorite part to train? Bicep is not mine. But I'll go on record saying there's nothing I don't like to train. But bicep for me, don't ask me why, is something that it takes me a different type of mental approach, and I have to work a little bit harder to get right into the game. I don't know why, it's just the way it is. I get great bicep workouts and tricep, but arms in general, I have to really focus on, I think, more bicep than tricep for some reason. It could be because I don't have the super long insertion. When I got my arms are good and they're definitely in proportion to my whole physique. Uh, but I wish I had a little longer bicep insertion. Something just so, FYI, you can't change no matter what you do. Although people are doing site enhancement, which definitely makes a big difference. But I don't do drugs, so that's off the table for me. Okay. What else? Yeah. So, anyways, bicep. Although that's show muscle, and especially for young boys, they all want to go. They all either they don't want to. If they're not bench pressing, then they're going to be doing barbell curls. This is the two things that for some reason they associate with right off the bat, and which is either way. I mean, it's not getting into the gym, but with that said, many people will tend to just train their arms. You'll see it all the time. There's tons of guys, incomplete physiques. Even guys that are juicing, they look good in the bar. Very incomplete physiques. They don't have it all. Most of them have very little back. A lot of them don't have any chest. They have a little bit of shoulders and arms. And, many of them have no legs to speak of. And that's just the way people are. People, for some reason, they gravitate towards whatever is going to fulfill their goal. If their goal is just to get noticed by the opposite sex, well, then they're just going to do the showing muscles. And for most people, that's going to be arms and sometimes chest. And the rest will suffer. They may do some work. It may be minimal. Sometimes they don't do any. I can tell you in my early years of training, I saw many guys, and this looked absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it was actually worse back then. I have to say, this is one of those things that was even worse back then. There was guys that literally have huge upper bodies. I mean, they would train chest and back and shoulders and arms and no legs. They had sticks for legs. It was disgusting to look at. I mean, if you saw somebody like that today, it'd be hard not to hold back a chuckle, even though that's not very polite. But that's just the way people are. The only people truly concerned, with a completely balanced physique, are people that are, what's sort of perfectionists and people that compete. Because then you seem to have a reason for it. You need to be out there, and you have to have a balanced physique. Although it's not necessary for all the classes. You don't need it for, I don't even know all the different classes. For physique, all you really need it for is for open bodybuilding and for classic physique. The other two classes, those the underpins, so to speak, are very, very underdeveloped. But so, anyways, we're going to focus on biceps today, and then next time we do one in the series, we'll deal with triceps. And once again, I'm going to go to the split screen. And I'm going to just talk a little bit more in general here. So bicep muscle, very small muscle, doesn't require, just like any other muscle I talk about, there's no reason to be doing super, super high repetitions. Although because of the nature of the body part, being the smaller it is, you don't want to be going down into that like 4-rep range type of thing. I think I have actually made a career of, that 6 to 8 rep range or 6 to 10 on almost all my exercises, and it's worked out great for both me and my clients. It's a great area to be in between, 6 and 10. And when I go with biceps, I usually speak in 6 to 8. So I try to go as heavy as possible. And when I'm doing HIIT training, which is what I'm doing, I definitely take it like right to the end. I do negatives. I do, forced reps, or if I happen to have somebody helping me train, I'll I don't have to cheat a rep. I can do a forced rep with a trainer. We're going to start off with a classic. Okay. And just remember, you can do barbells, you can do dumbbells, you can do cables. There are so many different ways you can train biceps, but it's always good to learn free weight movements. Plus there's tons of different bicep machines. Okay. Anyways, let me just go to my split screen here, and I'll bring it up full in a second. So I go over to here just for a second. Okay, and we're going to start off with a classic. I am going to mute this. Okay, and we're going to let this gentleman go. I'm going to point out a couple things after he starts into here. Okay. Okay. So I am going to just stop this for a second. Okay, so two things to note. He is doing an easy curl bar. Okay, the easy curl bar is another variation. Some people will find it a little hard on their wrists if they have to have their hands on a straight bar. But the reality is, when you have your hands like this, you may be in a somewhat stronger position, but you're not able to supinate the movement, which means when your wrists are turned out, you get a fuller contraction on your bicep. And when you use an easy curl bar to do biceps like this, you don't get the supination, okay? How he's standing is fine. A little bit forward is fine. Matter of fact, I prefer a little bit forward, and staying tight. And that way, you would force the movement more onto the bicep at the top end. As you're going down, you might want to lean back a little bit and move your elbows a bit forward. That forces the movement to stay constant, keep constant tension on your biceps. Okay, let's just let him continue the movement. Okay. His cadence is good. Nothing wrong with that. Okay. Close that off. Back onto my screen. Okay, so basically that was a barbell curl. Okay, and the barbell curl can be done, like I said, numerous ways. You can hook up a cable, meaning you can have separate cable handles, you can have a cable handle with an actual bar through it. So therefore, you're still doing a barbell curl, but you're doing it off a machine. Okay. I think I'm going to actually get into. I'm just going to change my screens for a second here. I want to make sure I have it on here. Yeah, I didn't actually have it. I don't have it queued up because I didn't have actual proper representation of it. Another favorite movement actually is a reverse barbell curl. A reverse barbell curl is similar to this, only you would never really want to do it with an easy curl bar. You'd want to do it with a straight bar. You want to have your stance the same way, and you want to have your hand spacing basically about a little bit further than shoulder. Okay. You're probably going to need a full grip as opposed to an open grip or a thumbless grip, because you're going to need to, because your hand is facing forward, your palms are facing forward. The only thing stopping that bar is, even though your fingers around are going to do a good job, it's best to have your thumb on here for this movement. Okay. And once again, you're going to curl all the way from the bottom to the top. As you're coming up or as you're going down, you're going to move your elbows slightly forward to keep the tension on. And as you're coming up, you want to move your elbows just slightly, not a fucking lot here, just slightly back. That way it'll force you to not just fall over at the top of the movement and get a complete contraction. Okay. And what that is going to work is actually your brachialis, more part of the bicep connection. Okay. Which is a lower insertion at the lower end of your bicep. It's an excellent movement for this. Some people will mimic this with a hammer curl, which is a dumbbell, same type of movement, affecting the same type of area. But I don't believe the dumbbell hammer curl is as effective as the reverse barbell curl. Okay. When you go into, I don't know of any real barbell curling machines. I've yet to see one. There's numerous styles of preacher curl. There's numerous styles of seated curl. There's other things, but I've never seen a machine barbell curl ever. Maybe they're out there, but I don't know of them. So anyways, we are going to go on to a second movement here, okay? And we're going to go to the dumbbell alternate bicep curl, okay? And I'm just going to let this guy set up, play through, and then point out things if I see things. Okay? So the stance is good, okay? Okay. Okay. Let's do two things here. His movement is way too fast. okay? And he's almost doing no negative. Not focusing at all on the negative portion of this movement. And what I prefer to see is at the bottom of the movement, I don't prefer you to actually rotate your wrists all the way back in. I don't want to see the dumbbells facing each other at the bottom because that to me generally says you're not keeping the tension on the bicep. The other thing too is I believe this movement is far superior when you do it in a seated position. You're just far more stable. You're not worrying too much about, on your feet, especially once you can do a heavier weight. So it's a much more stable position to be in. And you seem to be able to focus a lot more on the individual arm as you go through this motion. Okay, we're going to continue here. So I'm going to close that off. When I'm watching him do this movement, this to me strikes me as how many people do a lot of movements. It's like going through the motion and you're not actually dialing in. Even though I realize he's only demonstrating, I actually see many people train like this. They do not actually focus in on the movement. And, this movement in particular can be very effective and you can get into good poundages doing it. Okay. I do believe your attention needs to be focused from one side to the next. There are numerous ways to do this movement. As I said, you can do it standing, you can do it seated, okay? You can do it as an alternate movement. You can do it as both arms at the same time. Why you would do both arms at the same time, to me, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense because you're going to do that, you might as well do a barbell movement. Although, some people say it just feels better. All the power to you. You feel good. It's rather doing a barbell curl, getting the a little bit more wrist freedom by doing it with dumbbells, but doing it at the same time. Go for it. Okay. That's all I'm going to say on that movement, and I am going to move into this one, and we're going to talk about. Here's another version of another movement. This is dumbbell curls, but done on an incline. Watch to see what he does here. I want to make sure that he doesn't drop his elbows back because you want to keep your elbows forward here, especially through the downward portion of the movement. Okay, and they can be back in the upward portion. Okay. Okay, so he's not rotating his wrists out whatsoever. So this is not a great illustration. Okay, his foot position is fine. The bench, everything is fine. But when you're curling this movement, you want to be taking that up and once again, rotating your wrists out as much as possible. And whether you're doing it one dumbbell at a time or alternate, it doesn't matter. Okay. Either way, make sure that you control the movement going up. You keep your elbow traveled a little bit forward, coming down to force the movement, and rotate your wrists out to get complete supination. Let me finish the movement. And once again, I believe this movement should be done as an alternate form. Okay, let's go on to the other screen. Alrighty, so that was, hold on a second here, please. That is the incline dumbbell curl. And you notice he was doing it as together. You can also do that as an alternate movement. You could even be sitting away from a cable machine and do that same movement. Basically have your cables behind you and work it very effectively, okay? I'm going to move on to one more movement, and we're going to talk into some generalities after that, okay? So we're going to go into concentration, okay? I'm just going to stop just for a second. I'm just going to get back on here. I'm going to stop it. Didn't even I have to apologize. I really need to get this facility going so I can have the my critters in their place while I'm doing the show. Anyways, we are going to go back here to the screen here, okay? And we are going to talk about this movement. I hope I had those other ones on the screen. Okay, so he's setting up to do concentration curls. I can tell right off the bat that he does his a little bit differently, but either way, it's another form. It's actually quite a popular form of doing concentration curl. Okay. So basically, seated position, elbow braced against your knee, and curling up to the inside of the shoulder. Okay. And you let him, once again, you want to be doing this very slow with a good negative, which he doesn't normally actually do. And we'll just let him finish the movement. Okay. Let's go back down to my screen. Something tells me for some reason that I didn't actually split the screen on the previous exercise. So I hope I didn't. That'll be a major boo-boo for this one. Anyways, the concentration curl, it's been misaligned, I believe. A lot of people think, this exercise only has a place when you're getting ready for a show. And even while I was growing up, many people did that. They stuck to heavier movements, whether it be barbell or dumbbell. But when it came to concentration curl, they saved that because of the fact that it's such an isolation movement, they kept it for the show. But I don't believe that. I believe it has a place all year round, and you can actually get into some good poundages. You work on developing your strength in a concentration curl. But keep in mind, the main point of this exercise is to isolate the bicep peak and get as tight and hard a contraction as you can at the top end of the movement. Okay, controlling it throughout. Okay, that's what you want to do. Okay. Anyway, so we're going to go back here now, and we're just going to talk into some generalities. Okay, so I believe that you should have a combination of different styles of training your bicep. And I don't mean from one workout to the next. I mean, you should design your workout or have somebody design your workout that you're hitting the muscle. It's a two-headed muscle, okay? It's quite small. It doesn't take a whole lot to stimulate it. But, like anything else, you have to work it hard. I believe, a combination of barbell and dumbbell. And if you have the ability to do some machines, that's fine. One of the exercises I want to show you, which I believe is a very effective exercise, called the preacher curl or the Scott curl. Many people believe you can actually get yourself a much fuller, longer bicep by doing preacher curls, but that's not the reality. I do believe that you can use it to force some work, at the lower end of the movement, but you can't change where your insertion is. It is where it is, and you can't change it. But nonetheless, I believe Scott curls are a very valid exercise. They were made famous by Larry Scott originally, and Larry Scott extremely full biceps. Wasn't noted for having a strong peak, but he had a very round and very long muscle insertion. Okay, so that's why it was originally called Scott curls. But eventually, I'm not exactly sure. But I guess because of the design of the bench and how it looks, they changed over, and most people now will call it a preacher curl. So hang on, I have a dog who seems to be a little choking here right now. You okay there, mister? Yes, he seems to be okay. All right, so preacher curls, and you can find preacher curl machines or preacher curl benches, either way. Barbell curls, great movement. Reverse barbell curls, another great movement. Dumbbell curls, seated or standing, preferably seated, much more stable, much more focused. Don't forget to rotate on all your dumbbell movements. Don't forget to supinate, meaning to rotate your wrists out. Okay, very important. Okay, and always, always good control. Keep in mind, your bicep is a very small muscle, extremely small muscle. And course, it's been, probably more provoked because of the drug usage. Guys are handling such ridiculous poundages now, or some of them just get so careless because, the drugs definitely do heighten up their mental state. Sadly, it's not always for the best, and they get a little careless. And the fact is, there's been many, many muscle tears, and a lot of them have been bicep and tricep. That's because the muscle group is so small. Not like, you hear pec tears and other areas as well, quadricep tears, not as much as you do bicep and tricep tears because the muscle group is so small. The tendons and ligaments in relationship are much smaller than the other muscle groups. Okay, so always good control. There's nothing wrong with doing a forced repetition or two. If you haven't got a partner, I don't train with a partner. So in order to do HIIT training, I have to either, go down the rack or drop weight sets, whatever you like to call it, and or I have to do cheat reps. Okay. When I talk about cheat reps, it's just a slight nudge to get it out. Because when I get to that point, I know that my positive portion is finished, and therefore I am trying my best. I'll probably make use of maybe 2 cheat reps. And the first one, I try and hold it throughout the whole movement. I try and hold it statically in about 3 different positions on the negative portion. And by the time I get to do one more, like there's next to nothing left, if anything left at all. And I can't even hold it back. So that's how I use it, but it's always well controlled. Okay. I think a good formula would be to have something like do some preacher curls, do some barbell curls, and finish off some concentration curls. My current program right now for myself, I do 3 exercises. I do 1 set per exercise, and I almost always start with either dumbbell curls or barbell curls. And then I do reverse curls because I want to build up my brachialis as much as possible because I have the shorter bicep at the end to try and fill in that top portion. Okay. And I usually finish off with concentration curl, but I do another version. You can do a concentration curl. I don't see a lot of people doing this. First of all, I'll talk about the standard concentration curl. I prefer to do it with yourself braced against the weight rack, okay? And then actually keeping yourself in a 45-degree angle to the ground, and then have your arm or your elbow completely out from your body, and you're curling up into the inside of your shoulder, and not supported by your elbow, by your knee or your leg whatsoever, okay? But I do another version where I have the overhead pulley on a cable, and I'm lying on a flat bench with a straight handle about 2 feet long, and basically I have it so my elbows are traveled as far forward this as possible, and I have it, it's only a medium weight, and I do a concentration curl like that. It's for some reason it's very effective at creating a strong contraction at the top of the movement, which is what concentration curls are all about. Okay, you might want to try that one, and when we get this facility going, I'm going to demo it for sure. Okay. Anyways, it is Friday. It's the end of the week for the people that are back working. I hope you're staying safe, whatever your job is. My name is Perry Larrabee. This is The Way It Is Naturally. I hope you join me again every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. And what else? Yes, just keep remembering that we do the Spotlight Show and be moved to Monday. If you have a story, you made some great transformation, whatever the case might be. If you have a story and you're on a journey and you want to be included in the show, that would be great. You can either do it live on the show with me, no stress. It's very laid back. It's basically just talking to me. You don't even realize people are out there. And also, you could also just, send in your story with before and after pictures, either way. I'd like to ask you to, go to my website, check out my programs, and also to join me on YouTube. Go to Bullfish Training on YouTube and watch the show there. I do stream it through many Facebook groups as well, or Facebook pages, but I really would love it if you could join me here on YouTube at Bullfish Training. Anyways, that's it. That will be a wrap. Everybody take care. I want you to go out there and train bull fierce, train natural, and get at her. Bye.